Hello crew and welcome to our vocab lesson. We are doing vocab 14, which is about words of poetry. So I accidentally stapled this together wrong, so go ahead and turn it to this page and let's go over our words. So our first word is onomatopoeia, and this is when a word imitates the sound of something, it's called an onomatopoeia. Then we have rhyme. A word that has the same ending sound as another word is a rhyme. Meter is the arrangement of beats in a line of poetry. A simile uses the words like or as to compare two unlike things. A couplet is two lines of poetry that usually rhyme. In personification, a human characteristic is given to something that is not human. A haiku is a three-line poem in which there are 5, 7, and 5 syllables per line. A metaphor is a comparison of two unlike things. The repetition of the first sound of several words in a poem is an alliteration. And a sonnet is a poem with 14 lines written in a certain meter and with a special rhyme scheme. So those are our words. So the first section, it says, circle the best words for each example. And we will go ahead and look at number 5, and it says, Silly Sally sits on the sidewalk. That is an alliteration because silly, Sally, sits, and sidewalk all start with S. So for number 5, circle C. For B, it says to write the vocabulary word for each clue. So I'm going to go with number 2. Actually, we'll do number 3. Shakespeare wrote many of me. That is a sonnet. Shakespeare wrote a lot of sonnets. It's actually what he's most famous for. So number 3, sonnet. Okay, then go ahead and turn to this page, and we will do all of section A together. A tongue twister and is an example of an alliteration. So number 1 is alliteration. Number 2, in her blank, Jessie used the word as. So we know that a simile uses the words like or as. So number 2 would be a simile. So number 1, alliteration. Number 2, simile. Number 3, poets often use blank to create sounds. That is an onomatopoeia. O-N-O-M-A-T-O-P-O-E-I-A. Onomatopoeia. It's a tricky word. Although it only has 2 lines, a blank can express a lot. Well, we know that a couplet only has 2 lines, so it is a couplet. So number 3, onomatopoeia, 4, couplet. All right, number 5. A blank is a short poem that originated in Japan. That is a haiku. By giving the table a voice, Rich used blank in his poem. That is personification. That's when you give an inanimate object human characteristics. So personification. 5 is haiku, 6, personification. Number 7. Not all poems have blank. Some are in blank verse. I'm going to skip that one for a second. Let's go to 8. Like music, poetry has a blank, made up of accented and unaccented beats. Hold on one second. I want to make sure I do this right. Okay, so poetry has a meter, and not all poems have rhyme. So number 7 is rhyme, number 8 is meter. Okay, number 9, when you write a blank, you must include 14 lines. That's a sonnet. And number 10, Hunter wrote, "My clothes were a mountain on the floor," as his metaphor. All right, so at this point, if you need to pause it to catch up with me, go ahead and press pause and get all those written down. All right, the next section is B. Read each question, choose the best answer. So let's go with number Let's go with number 2. Which one's a poem? That is a song.